reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
News time is 6 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast. Brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and we stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A Clinton family is continuing its advocacy for playground equipment advancements to be more accessible to students with special needs. It was an uncharacteristically contentious meeting Tuesday night at the Clinton Board of Education meeting. Tyler Smith and his wife Brandy presented to the Board of Education last summer about upgrading Clinton schools' playgrounds for their elementary age student. Smith returned to the board Tuesday night with several pages of research he had done on improvements they hope to see.
As far as funding goes, it kind of goes hand in hand with that. If we know where we're going, we'll have a better idea of what funding we need so that we have a better idea for fundraising if we need to do fundraising. That's another thing that I think we should start sooner rather than later. I think the working together with the district and running the fundraiser through the district would give credibility to the fundraiser. It would also, I think it would raise the likelihood that the community and local businesses would help this cause. The supplier is called New Toys. They have a sales rep that's out of Bloomington, so I've been talking to him quite a bit. One of the things that we talked about is most of the suppliers you can call, get a sales rep and have a conversation with you, and they'll give you a high-level cost per square foot for servicing. So the cost that he gave me was $15 per square foot, and I think that may be lower than some of the other estimates that were received. Another thing he did mention was they also provide discounts for larger projects. He mentioned another, I don't remember which town it was, but fairly close to here. There was a school that redid 4 playgrounds. It was a total of 30,000 square feet. He said by the time the project was done, they had the cost of the poured-in-place rubber down to $6 a square foot. Assuming a $15 per square foot cost to resurface, I think in reality, based on what I've heard personally, I think that cost may be cheaper. If you'll notice, I also have money allocated to replacing the equipment or adding equipment at both CES and Douglas, because I think both of those schools need something. I did not add equipment for Lincoln since we just added those accessible equipments there. But just looking at it broken down school by school, and then as I mentioned, a larger project, the sales rep talked about discounts, and if we were to use that figure that he gave me, that $6 per square foot, we would be looking at around $480,000 for all 3 schools.
Smith's advocacy has not been exclusive to Clinton schools either. He indicates they have been in contact with the village of Wapella and the city of Clinton about its playgrounds as well.
We talked to Sean, is his name, in Wapella. He is looking to try to redo the Wapella Park as well. So that's something we've been talking to that sales rep too, because obviously if we can group things together, that saves everyone money. And I do know that there's someone that recently started in Clinton for parks that has some experience in doing the accessible playgrounds, and they're wanting to make that change in Clinton too.
Can you clarify that? You said they are wanting to make that change in Clinton too?
I think the person who started.
So you're talking about Taylor Baxter, the new city administrator?
I believe that's the name that I heard, yeah.
That's who he is.
So really, I mean, we're frustrated, right? Because we came here in August. The reception was very positive. We seen press coming out in October that said we're going to do this, and then December came around and we got the answer that we're not going to do this until 2025. So we're just frustrated, and we're looking for partnership and a a way to make this happen as soon as possible.
The press Smith referenced is where the meeting started to turn somewhat contentious. Board President Dan Matthews told the Smiths there were no promises made to them regarding the playground improvements.
Well, if you want to go back to September, this board never said we're going to do this. We didn't at that meeting say that. You say it was a positive. It was a positive meeting. It was good to meet you. Good to meet Rowan. I hear about it, and then we have it planned. We've said, and Kurt may share a little bit more, but the budget was done. The budget is done for the majority for years to come. So there's no promise that nobody here made a promise that in this year or next year we would do that. We haven't made that promise, but have we talked about it? We've had lots of discussions. And they're tough decisions. There's parents here, there's grandparents here, so it's a tough decision, but we have to make decisions for the entire school. Curriculum, there's a lot of things we're doing great. There's things we're doing for the schools. If we are to partner in the future, I would suggest taking it off of social media and saying the school doesn't do this. We don't take care of our kids. We're not ADA compliant. We're not going to be good partners if part of the story is getting out there, and then you see people run with that. Oh, why aren't and they are? They don't do that. My school never did that.
We asked for a response.
I understand that, but I think had the communication been a little bit better, that we wouldn't have been put in that position.
A story taken up by a Champaign news outlet in the fall was what Smith describes as action taken out of frustration because they were not being heard by the Board of Education.
I mean, we felt like no one was responding to us after we came. We reached out, we didn't hear back. We had to hound down a response, and then we got a response that didn't sound too great.
Okay.
And then,
we didn't want to do that.
I think looking back, had someone reached out and said, hey, this is the tough decision that we have to make, but we would still like to partner with you and plan this and start planning this and start working on this still, then I don't think we would have ran to social media to make those posts. So just understand that it's coming from a place of frustration, of feeling not heard.
Superintendent Kurt Nettles was frustrated by the story that was published by the news outlet and explains there was an entire interview and conversation that was had, but only a few of his comments were portrayed.
Channel 3 asked me about it, and I don't remember exactly how it was picked up. I don't know if you contacted them or they contacted you. I don't know if troll is the right word, but they troll agendas and things like that, so they'll occasionally reach out. So they asked me if they could come. I could say 100% of the time will grant interviews to WAND, WCIA, WICS, and of course our local media all the time. So Channel 3 came over. He asked me a number of questions, which I answered all of them. In my dialogue or my discourse with the reporter, Jack, I said, estimated to do surface over here about $370,000. And also in the course of that conversation, I said, it would look really nice. There's an entire conversation that went on between me and Jack from WCIA that was not aired. They took, I said two things, and they put that together and said, it'll cost $370,000 and it will look really nice. I will not give WCIA another interview until I meet with Jack's bosses and rectify that. Jack and I have talked since. That is not good reporting. That is a hatchet job. My term, hatchet job. That went out. They totally did not represent or reflect exactly what I said in my office that day. And I watched it and I thought, you got to be kidding me. In WCIA, it's like boom, 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 all the news stories, and that's what this was. And they showed me saying $370,000, it would look really nice. And that was it. I said, and I quote, this is not a done deal. That landed on the editing floor, I guess. That's what happened with Channel 3. They know how I feel about it.
The Smiths say they were frustrated because they presented in August of last summer and did not hear anything back from the Board of Education.
And I really wish we heard that from you, because we went months upset thinking that you made a promise publicly to the Clinton town of this, and that's what we got from that. But that's not what you meant. right?
No.
Okay, well,
But again,
a simple email would have confirmed that with us.
but Brandy, I'm not on Facebook. I don't know all the other communications that were going on. Occasionally some people said some
Nothing
things,
was on
but,
Facebook until this year.
well,
We gave months.
yeah, okay.
We just wanted an update, something. We just want you guys to work with us. And we felt like we're all alone in this, and you guys just like smiled and said hi to Rowan, and well, we'll just shove it in your rug and forget about it.
It just doesn't feel like it's as high as priority as
No,
it is.
it does.
Sandra Baker is the board's treasurer and told the Smiths there were very few communications to the board and pointed out Assistant Superintendent Drew Goebel went right to work to research the requests they made last summer.
Well, I will tell you this, I don't get other emails ever. So within weeks after you were here, Drew had already gone and gotten all kinds of quotes, had given us all kinds of information on how it would work and how much it would cost to keep up and all of those things. And he sent out 2 separate emails within a month of you being here. I am sorry for whatever lack of communication that you felt like you had or didn't have. Reaching out to the board directly through going into the unit office and speaking to Kurt, or making a phone call, or calling one of us, all of those things could have been different. You emailed me, I did respond to you. I just want to say that, I apologize for any miscommunication, and if we had the money tomorrow, of course we would do it. Why wouldn't we?
Don't expect it.
One thing that most folks don't understand is how long it takes to plan
I agree.
budgets and put into plan things that have to be done. So when you're putting out on social media that we're purchasing a football field, those are not the only things that are happening. It's the shiny thing that everyone wants to see and everyone wants to gawk at is the football field. But there are hundreds of thousands of other dollars being spent in every single one of our schools for things that absolutely must be replaced and things that were planned long before you guys ever came to us.
So I think
Smith accused the board of not having ADA-compliant playground equipment and says they've contacted the Department of Education for an inspection.
I think that your playgrounds are not ADA compliant and they're going to have to be replaced.
Yeah, disability didn't happen overnight.
So we filed a complaint with the Department of Education, and they're going to come in,
Yeah.
investigate, and enforce an action. So it's something that's going to have to be done.
Those woodsheds are not ADA compliant.
Is there an ADA inspector or someone that's going to come out and
They're coming.
evaluate? When is that?
I don't know.
We're not sure
They
yet,
told us
but-
it's going to be a surprise. They won't even tell us. I don't know. But I reached out before doing that. Nobody replied. This all could have been prevented.
Matthews cautioned the Smiths about what they were doing, noting the playground equipment could be shut down because of the lack of compliance, and therefore 0 students would have access to it.
Well, you might want to think about what you're wishing for, because at times, what would be an easy reason? What would be something easy for us to do? And I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for this board. I tried to follow online as much as I can until I get tired of hearing false information, but we remove them. I read where Rowan likes PE better than recess. Well, maybe we
Why, right?
maybe we get rid of the playgrounds.
That's
We'll spend the money on something else. Again, it's me talking, but that is not a partnership. There's no other schools that have this, right? Is there any other schools? You're putting it all, Clinton schools don't, Clinton schools don't. WCIA didn't even go to the schools in Champaign to see that they don't have any of this,
So you're
right?
saying you do something because if someone else does it, you don't want
It's not what I said. You're saying Clinton is not ADA compliant. You filed complaints. We believe we are. Yes, we do. We believe we are.
My son at recess. Please, I invited
That doesn't make-
Superintendent March of 2024.
That doesn't
to go
make-
with Rowan to go experience what he experiences. Did he come? Did he try it out? No. So we came in August. We tried. You guys, we want to work with you.
Okay,
you
but
don't
that
feel
doesn't
heard.
make us in violation of ADA rules.
Smith says it was frustrating to be at the August meeting last summer, have a tentative budget put on file, and then no playground equipment be discussed further for the budget after that.
From the outside looking in, it is frustrating to come to that meeting in August. That meeting was the meeting where you're presenting the tentative budget for next year. So it's not set in stone yet. And then after that, for a bid to be approved for the football field. and then
Just planned
for
years
a
in
contract.
advance.
We've been working on that football field for
Disability did
years.
not happen overnight.
I'm not sure what
That
that has.
fix
I
is
don't
not
know.
accessible.
So again, I'm not saying you should do this over the football field. I'm just
No,
saying
please don't stop this
from
podcast.
the outside
Please don't.
looking in, I see millions of dollars being spent on something
You guys already have.
that I don't see as a priority.
Okay.
But I know that there's been work put into that, and I know that it is a priority. Like I've said on social media, I don't want that not to happen. I played high school football. I know how important that is to a district. But it just raises questions. I just want to know. Like,
Okay.
where did that
You guys
funding
are not
come from?
accepting kids with disabilities. He's not the only one. We're fighting for many families.
Matthews cut off the discussion after that. Nettles, though, then read a prepared statement at the end of the meeting defending the district and its current playground equipment and the surveying he's done on the issue.
So I respect and appreciate how our visitors advocate for their child. I do. But I want to make some comments regarding this whole thing. And I'm sharing facts and plans that the board has in place. And I'm not going to speculate on what this board or future boards might do. In regard to our playgrounds at Douglas, Lincoln, and CES, those playgrounds were installed according to standards that were in place at the time of their construction. You don't change playgrounds that are already in place. I don't know how often that these standards change, but they are national standards. And I checked with our regional superintendent of schools, Mark Jontry, to make sure if we were in compliance with our playgrounds. He sent me information that shows we are in compliance with the standards of the time that they were put in place. I spoke with a representative of the company that installed the CES playground. It's Cunningham Recreation. I was not employed here when CES was built or the playground installed, but she assured me that the playground was in compliance with the standards we needed to meet. While typical school district playgrounds or park district playgrounds in central Illinois communities are not totally inclusive, they are not considered to be illegal or out of compliance. Surface materials called loose fill are compliant with standards, and these would include pea gravel, sand and wood chips, and rubber chip fills. However, these fills are not best for propulsion and turning for equipment that might be used by students with special needs. The newest standards to follow do discuss creating pathways, and this is a quote from the document. Other surfacing materials can be used to create paths to the entry point of the play equipment and render your playgrounds compliant. That's what we've done at CES. That is exactly what we've done.
According to Nettles, the cost could be north of $1 million, and based on conversations with other superintendents he knows he had had conversations with, none had anything compared to this.
When this question was presented to the board back in August, we asked for and received 2 quotes on what it would cost to put down a rubberized surface on all 3 playgrounds. The 2 quotes that we got ranged from $730,000 to $1.05 million to do all 3 playgrounds, and there would be additional maintenance on those surfaces every couple of years. Recently, I asked questions of other superintendents in central Illinois about their school playgrounds just so I could compare what we have. This was a meeting I was in last week up in Bloomington. There were 20 superintendents there, ranging from Pontiac all the way down to us, so everybody in between, and then somebody from Morton was there also. I asked questions regarding updated equipment, their ground cover, their surfaces, or creating pathways like we have here at CES. 0 of the 20, representing that big stretch in central Illinois. Out of the 20 superintendents in the room, none had what we have or anything above what we have. There are a few parks in the area I'm aware of that have the rubber surface, and one school in Bloomington Normal. That's Colleen Hoos. And those, I am told, were made possible by large donors. Mark Jontry told me that. He's aware of all that.
Nettles feels the portrayal of the Board of Education on social media has not been accurate and vouched for the board in its desire to do what's best for facilities and students.
We've been portrayed in the media or social media as not communicating, or I'm not sure if this is the right way to phrase it, but not interested But the board has listened, they have discussed it, and information was sought out. 2 years ago, we started work on a facilities plan for the district. The plan covers many things in some or all of our buildings and around the sports complex and fields behind CHS. That plan was created and put into effect over a year ago as we started the projects on the plan. Included in the work we are doing are health, life, safety projects that were put on our 10-year plan that is mandated by the state of Illinois. Much work and funds have gone into executing this plan. But like any other plan, it should be a living and breathing document that is subject to change as things arise. Changes to our 3 playgrounds are not in the plan when it was created. If the state or feds require changes to be made, then they'll be made. I also know that this board is a group of caring individuals that will take all things into account, and that includes what needs to be done, what can be done, and being responsible with the district funds. These people are responsible for millions of dollars. Although I won't be sitting in this chair in July, I do look forward to all the great things that will continue on, whether it be facility planning or teaching and learning plans. And no one, I repeat, no one has contacted me about an inspection of anything on our property. And no one can just show up on a school campus and start nosing around and doing the kind of inspecting they're talking about doing, because that's not going to be allowed. Someone that just shows up and starts nosing around is going to quickly be addressed. So I can't imagine any legal entity would just show up and start doing something like that.
Nettles did say anyone who did show up to do any inspecting he would work with, but would not tolerate anyone being unsupervised on district property doing inspections. News time, 27 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show.
Take advantage of leap year. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we have an extra day this month. So, come see our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the all-new Chevy Trax. It's a sharp, redesigned 5-passenger and affordable front-wheel drive. We also have a larger 7-passenger Traverse and a good selection of Tahoes. Use your extra day wise. Shop us online to see all our inventory. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time, 28 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Wednesday. A Central Illinois nonprofit will be listening closely to the governor's budget address today to hear his plans for Illinois social service agencies. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Tony Kirkman, executive director of the Piatt County Mental Health Center, told Regional Radio it will be interesting what the governor's plan will be with COVID dollars, now out of the picture in Illinois.
Well, this is always a very tense time for local social services because we're all getting ready to get into grant season work. And so for those that don't know, our fiscal years at the state level starts effective July 1st. It's not the calendar year, it's July 1st. And so Governor Pritzker has to come out and share his initial plans for his budget to the legislature, and then they kick it around. And normally kind of in the late last hours of the days, they get a budget approved.
According to Kirkman, the state of Illinois faces a deficit. He fears a cut to social services because of that.
As it sits right now, there is a projection for next fiscal year for the state of Illinois to be $891 million in the hole. And normally when you start seeing deficits, the very first thing on the chopping block is social services.
Despite the maneuvering in the budget, Kirkman is optimistic about legislation that could come up in the new legislative year that would allow him to pay his staff and not lose money. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. The Biden impeachment inquiry will advance today. Presidential brother James Biden due to appear before the House Oversight Committee in a closed-door session. Nikki Haley insisting that she has no intention of abandoning the Republican presidential race after this coming Saturday's nominating contest in South Carolina, even if she should lose to former President Trump. The former president tells a Fox News town hall that he is being persecuted in a similar fashion to the way that now deceased Russian dissident Alexei Navalny was. A tragic end to the search for a missing 11-year-old girl in Polk County, Texas. The sheriff says Audrey Cunningham's body has been recovered from the Trinity River. A 42-year-old man, a suspect, expected to be charged with capital murder in the case. On Wall Street, Dow futures down 68 points. More details at srnnews.com.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. Let's start with news from the NBA, which is completing the All-Star break. Brooklyn Nets naming a former NCAA champion coach as their interim bench boss.
Kevin Ollie has been named the interim head coach of the Brooklyn Nets a decade after leading UConn to an NCAA title. A day after firing Jacques Vaughn, the Nets announced the temporary promotion of Ollie, who had been hired as an assistant coach ahead of the season. The 51-year-old Ollie played 13 seasons in the NBA. He takes over a Nets team that has a 21-33 record and is in 11th place in the Eastern Conference. Brooklyn has dropped 5 of its past 6 games, including a 50-point loss to the Celtics in its last game. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
Speaking of UConn in college basketball, number 1 team in the nation this week, and they lost. 15th ranked Creighton beat the Huskies last night 85-66. This is SRN Sports. In other college basketball action, number 5 Tennessee topped Missouri 72-67 yesterday, but number 11 Baylor was upset by 25th ranked BYU 78-71. Number 19 San Diego State upset by unranked Utah State 68-63. The tournament is going to be very interesting this year. In the National Hockey League yesterday, it was the Kings over Columbus 5-1. Predators 5, Vegas 3. Colorado topped the Canucks 3-1, while the Jets went over Minnesota 6-3. Islanders 5, Pittsburgh 4. In overtime, the Rangers beat Dallas 3-1. Florida 3, Senators 2 in OT. The Capitals beat New Jersey 6-2. Streaming service Fubo TV has filed an antitrust lawsuit against ESPN, Fox, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Hulu, which are all planning to launch a sports streaming venture in the fall. Fubo TV says you're creating a monopoly, and it can't happen. We'll see. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. It's the original home of March Madness, and it continues on from Action Tuesday and action coming up tonight. Class 1A boys basketball regional semifinal action for this Tuesday. From the Argenta-Orienta Regional, the regional hosts play Mount Pulaski at 6 o'clock. Then Georgetown Notre Dame de la Salette battles Decatur St. Teresa at 7:30. From the Augusta Southeastern Regional, it's the host taking on Delavan at 7:30. Tonight from the Bethany-Okaw Valley Regional, regional host Bethany-Okaw Valley takes on Arcola at 7:30. Tonight from the Casey Westfield Regional, Tuscola battles Martinsville at 6 o'clock. From the Salt Fork Regional, Champaign St. Thomas More takes on Fisher at 6. From the Illini Bluffs Regional, it'll be Mendon Unity taking on Illini Central at 7:30. From the Lexington Regional, the regional hosts take on Leroy at 6. Then it's GCMS and Bloomington Cornerstone Christian Academy at 7:30. And finally, from the St. Anne Regional, Hayworth battles Milford at 6. Class 2A boys regional semifinal action tonight. From the Athens Regional, Riverton takes on Petersburg Porta at 6 o'clock, followed by Quincy Notre Dame and Williamsville at 7:30. The Iroquois West Regional pits the regional hosts opposite Prairie Central at 7:30. Tonight from the Monticello Regional, the regional host Sages take on rival Tolono Unity at 6 o'clock. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Then Maroa Forsyth takes on Warrensburg Latham at 7:30. From the Peoria Notre Dame Regional, El Paso Gridley takes on Tremont at 6, and the regional hosts take on Normal U-High at 7:30. Tonight from the St. Joe Ogden Regional, the regional hosts take on Sullivan at 6, followed by Shelbyville and Fithian Oakwood at 7:30. Tonight from the Olympia Regional, action starts with Peoria Manual taking on Bloomington Central Catholic at 6 o'clock, followed by Clinton and Tri-Valley at 7:30. Hear the action on WHOW and all its digital platforms. Class 3A boys basketball regional semifinal action tonight from the Limestone Regional. Peoria Richwoods takes on East Peoria at 6 o'clock. That'll be followed by Morton and Washington at 7:30. From the Chatham-Glenwood Regional, it'll be the regional hosts taking on Taylorville at 6 o'clock, followed by Jacksonville and Rochester at 7:30. From the Danville Regional, Mount Zion takes on Danville at 6. Central takes on Urbana at 7:30. Tonight, Decatur MacArthur and Decatur Eisenhower battle at 6, followed by Champaign Centennial and Mahomet Seymour at 7:30. From the Geneseo Regional, Metamora battles Galesburg at 6. Peoria takes on Dunlap at 7:30. And from the Springfield Lanphier Regional, Lincoln takes on Springfield Sacred Heart Griffin at 6 o'clock. That'll be followed by Springfield Lanphier and Springfield Southeast at 7:30. Class 4A boys basketball regional semifinal action tonight from East Moline United. It'll be Bradley Bourbonnais and Pekin at 7:30. Tonight from the Normal Community Regional, the hosts take on Manuka at 6, followed by Rock Island and Normal West at 7:30. Class 1A girls basketball sectional semifinal action from Tuesday at the Ridgeview Regional. It was GCMS over Peoria Heights 51-43. And Cissna Park beat Leroy 44-41. From the Central A&M sectional, it was Altamont over Tuscola 52-37. Class 2A girls basketball sectional semifinal action from Tuesday. From Canton, Peoria Notre Dame rolled Bloomington Central Catholic 64-31. DMAC topped Canton 44-34. From the Iroquois West sectional, it was Piatt over St. Joe Ogden 35-21. From the Newton sectional, Teutopolis beat Maroa Forsyth 56-48. Class 3A girls basketball sectional semifinal action Tuesday. From Decatur MacArthur, it was Quincy Notre Dame over Mahomet Seymour 63-46. Chatham Glenwood down Mount Zion 51-34. And from the East Peoria sectional, Lincoln rolled Kankakee 64-28, and Morton topped Washington 40-34. Class 4A girls basketball sectional semifinal action from Tuesday. From the Normal West sectional, it was Normal Community over East Moline United 70-50. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Mainly cloudy skies expected today with daytime highs approaching 64. South winds 10 to 15 miles